and welcome. I am Lilisa J. Williams, and it gives me great honor and privilege to stand here on the corner of Keir and Maple, where recently this corner of the street was renamed in honor of the late Dr. Reverend Lloyd Preston Terrell Sr. And I found it not robbery to come here today and make this dedication to a man that had such a powerful impact on my life as a member of his congregation for over 30 years. And so that 30-year history, that journey, led me to this day. I'm so glad that the weather is permitting to be out here to stand before you. Reverend Dr. Lloyd Preston Terrell was a great leader. And I want to entitle my speech today, Impact of a Legacy. I'm talking about the legacy that Dr. Reverend Lloyd Preston Terrell made on myself. Meeting him here back in 1989. That was a time when I was searching for a church home. And I was led to Franklin St. John's United Methodist Church, where I was able to have that communion with members of this church. As Reverend Dr. Lloyd Preston Terrell loved to say, and I'm going to repeat it here on today, somebody give him glory. Somebody give him praise. Somebody give God honor. If he has done anything for you today, right, praise God. So those of you who have heard many of his sermons, you are very familiar with that phrase. But it was the words that he spoke one Sunday morning when he said to the congregation, somebody in here is going to be an author. Somebody in this church today, somebody is going to be a preacher. Somebody in this church is going to run for a political office. Amen. Somebody in this church is going to be a leader on their job. At the time he spoke these words, I did not realize that I would be that one person, that I would be that person who would write a book, who would give a speech, who would be a leader on the job, and who would run for a political office. And the reason why I am honored to make this dedication today to the late Reverend Dr. Lloyd Preston Terrell is because he spoke words of power. He spoke words that, like the Bible tells us, our words have life and death, and that there is power in the tongue. And it reminds me of when he spoke to the congregation one Sunday, shortly after 2004, after I had written my book, Release Your Power. I was led to give Reverend Dr. Preston Terrell that book because he had given me a book that he had written called Sending Up Your Timbers. And many of you have that book. Some of you all the way in Cincinnati, Ohio, you have that book because in 1999, when the late Reverend Barbara Branson had a women's retreat, she invited me there to speak in 1999. At that time, I didn't have a book, but Reverend Dr. Terrell had just finished writing one of his books, Sending Up the Timber. And I said to Dr. Terrell, can I take your book with me and sell it at the retreat? And he said, yes, daughter, as he would always say. He was always happy and a positive person. So I took his book to Cincinnati, Ohio. And that's when I realized the power of our words and the power of speaking and writing it down. So in 1999, fast forward to 2004, after I had written the book, Release Your Power. And he came into church and he mentioned that book to the entire congregation. And he drew their attention to this particular chapter in the book. It is chapter 4, one of the 8 strategies. And so I want to use that chapter to make this dedication of this great man who had an impact of his legacy on my life and the life of so many others. And I thank God today for his family members and all those who are missing him, all the church family, friends, and those that listen to him near and far on the internet, on social media, on the radio, and many other outlets. So chapter 4, from Release Your Power, the book that he held up in church one Sunday morning. And I want to read this passage starting on page 113. The chapter is entitled Positively Speaking. And that's why he brought this book to church, because he believed in the power of speaking, that our words have life. And so it reads, what is spoken from our mouths demonstrate what we are feeling in our hearts. If we are thinking negative thoughts, then our conversations will have a negative tone to it. Most people don't realize why others are always able to see through them. It is because they tell us what they are thinking or feeling by their conversation. It took me a long time to finally understand this principle. Never mind the fact that the Word of God reminds us that we create life and death with our tongue.
That's right.
The tongue is referred to as a deadly member of our body. Not enough can be said here about how serious this matter is. For now, we will settle with knowing that it is an area that we must forever learn and to work on. It is so easy to make slips of the tongue that can have devastating impacts on the lives of others, even on our own lives. How many times have we put our own selves down with our negative self-talk or doubting statements? So remember, our words are very powerful and carry with them the ability to bring life or death to a situation.
That's right.
And so my dedication here today is to honor this great man who now has a street named after him in his honor, right here on the corner of Keir and Maple. This is no longer just the corner. This is no longer just the corner of Keir and Maple. It is now the corner of the Reverend Dr. Lloyd P. Terrell and Maple Avenue. His words spoke life, and your words can speak life too if you allow his legacy to impact your life. I want to thank BASA News for videoing here today, taping this. Thank the President, Zechariah A. Jackson, for his service and dedication to the community. And I pray that each and every last one of you will be blessed in this holiday season as well. Thank you.
Zechariah Jackson, BASA News. Goodbye.